Okay, next step is I've measured out 10 grams of salt, and I'm going to put my rye flour mixture that's now cool. It's actually lukewarm. I'm going to zero this out. They called tare it. Zero that out. So now I can add my other ingredients. Next, I'm going to add, according to my recipe, I need to add 100 grams of starter. Okay, do that just a second. Okay, exactly 100 grams of starter. It's okay if it goes over, it's fine. And then we'll add 300 grams of bread flour. Now the rye was 100 grams, and that's 25%. Okay, so don't overdo it. Okay, I'm going to add my bread flour. Okay, now I have 300 grams of bread flour in there. And I need my salt, which I've measured out separately. I like to do that just so I don't overdo my salt. That's 10 grams of salt. And it says either molasses or barley malt. I prefer barley malt because it's sprouted. It's totally organic. Barley malt. So barley malt next. Okay, I added my barley malt on top. I tare it in between each thing of that add so I know how much I've added. And my recipe calls for 6 grams, but I added 8 because I like it a little bit. Extra barley malt makes the flavor even better. And the next one says 1 to 2 tablespoons of caraway seeds, which I'm going to add. And these just come in a bag. Looks like that. Okay, I'm going to pause that, add that in. Okay, I've added my caraway seeds. So I'm going to check my recipe. I've got my starter, my boiling water, bread flour, rye flour, salt, molasses, and caraway seeds. I'm going to combine all this with my dough hook and let everything rest for 30 minutes. This is like the autolyse phase where it helps the flour to rehydrate. Okay, so I'm going to take this off the scale, turn everything off, and stir with my dough hook. And this dough hook is super important. So if you don't have one, I recommend you get it. It just really helps mix this together a lot easier than a spoon. It's made for it. Okay, I'm going to stir this together, be right back. Okay, my dough hook got it almost all the way together. I still have a little bit of dry stuff on the bottom, so I'm going to use my hand. I'm going to actually wet my hand and then go ahead and mix the rest of this together and then let it rest. Okay, this is what your dough looks like after you mix it with your dough hook. And then I wet my hands and I got it formed into a ball. It is a wet dough, so don't panic if your hands get a little sticky in your dough, okay? Then I'm going to use a plate because my plates are about the same size as my bowl. You can use saran wrap to cover it and let this rest for 30 minutes. I don't like to leave it on my granite countertop. I like to put it on a towel or a wooden cutting board so that the bread has a time to rest and doesn't get too cold. Okay. Anyway, I'll be back in 30 minutes. I'll let this rest covered. Okay, while my dough is resting, I'm going to put the extra starter back into Bob, my starter jar that's in the fridge. Welcome to Bob. This is my starter jar. And I think I'm actually going to switch the jar out because it's getting a little crusty in there. And there's no problem with it getting crusty. It just Sometimes I like to give it a clean jar. I'm going to combine these two things together in a fresh jar. So it is good to transfer your starter, your cold starter, into a new jar every once in a while. And I use the fresh leftovers from my bread starter that I just made. I fed it yesterday. And anyway, I use that fresh stuff to feed Bob, my cold starter. You don't have to feed your starter very often. You can leave it in there for quite a while. It will develop a kind of a green tinge on the top. But as long as it doesn't stink, doesn't mold, then you're all good. You can just stir it up and keep using it. Yeah, you just want to feed it before you make more bread. Okay, after the dough rests for about 30 minutes, you want to perform 3 to 4 sets of stretch and folds about 30 minutes apart. With a damp hand, grab one side of the dough, stretch it upward, and fold it over to the center. Rotate the bowl and keep going till you get all 4 sides. Then let it rest. And then repeat. Okay, so I'm going to take the lid off, my plate off of my dough, set it aside. I'm going to do my first stretch and fold. Make sure your hand is wet. Okay, it really helps with this process. So you just want to pull up, stretch that dough, fold it over, keep stretching, fold it over, keep stretching, just stretch it, fold it over. Nothing fancy, just activates everything in that dough. Rotate, stretch, and fold. You'll be surprised at how quickly that dough changes. It starts to come together. But just be patient, okay? I'm going to let this rest. It's a little sticky right now. It's just starting to stick to my hand. I pulled it about 4 times.